Hi everyone, it's officially my birthday month. I'm trying to read as many great books as possible in the month of May as a gift to myself. And I'm starting that out by reading new books from authors I've given 5 stars to previously. I'm going to be reading The Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver. And yes, after last weekend, I found out his last name is actually pronounced Cleaver, like a V, but a W. Marcus Cleaver, The Caretaker. I previously gave his book We Used to Live Here 5 stars, so I'm hoping this one will do it again. I'm also reading The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. Though that's too shiny, it's f***ing up my light. I'm reading The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I previously gave her book The 10,000 Doors of January 5 stars, and The Night and the Butcher Bird, which is a short story. However, I also read Starling House by her, and I think I only gave that like a 3 stars. But this has to do with portal fantasy. It's portal fantasy and soulmates and people finding each other through every lifetime kind of a thing. So I have high hopes for this one. Please don't disappoint me. I am also reading The River Has Roots by Amal El-Motar. I read This Is How You Lose the Time War by her and Max Gladstone. It's one of my favorite books of all time now, so I'm crossing my fingers for The River Has Roots. I just read a 5-star nonfiction, A Life on Our Planet by David Attenborough, so I'm hoping that we can get 4 in a row. I know that's not likely, but a girl can dream. My sister is coming into town tomorrow night for a long weekend, and then I drive down to LA right after she leaves. So I'm hoping that I can maybe get The Caretaker done before I leave. If I don't read anything, then all 3 of these books are coming with me on the road trip. Wish me luck. Actually, hold on. We have 2 things to talk about before I say wish me luck and we go about our merry ways. The first of which is a little mini book haul. I went last weekend and I participated in Portland's indie book crawl. Me and my friend Sophie, we went around to 4 different bookshops, 3 different indie bookstores, and then Powell's. So we went to these 4 bookstores and we bought some books, including The Caretaker, because I bought The Caretaker while we were there. I said before we went out I was going to limit myself to only buying 5 books total during the entire day. Clearly, I failed. I failed hard. I bought 13 books and a giant piece of artwork. I didn't do very well at keeping myself in check. However, c'est la vie. We went to World Virus Books, Parallel Worlds Bookshop, where I also got this really cute little tote bag, and Mid-Slumber Media.
I still need to read that. I have it.
And I'm gonna really quickly tell you the books that I got. I'm not gonna tell you what anything is about because that would take too long, and I'll do it anyway during my next wrap up. But I did find a lot of African fiction, so that's very exciting. First thing I got is Africa's Tarnished Name by Chinua Achebe. I then got My Life in the Bush of Ghosts by Amos Tutuola. I got Feather Woman of the Jungle, also by Amos Tutuola. And Apprenticeship or the Book of Pleasures by Clarice Lispector. And if you are paying attention, you will know that I now own 3 books by Clarice Lispector and have read none of them because they scare me, because I know they're going to change my life, blah, blah, blah. I hopefully will be reading Agua Viva at the very least in the upcoming weeks. So maybe I won't be so much of a failure. I also got The Expedition to the Baobab Tree by Wilma Stockenstrom. I got Binti by Nanedia Corafor. We Like It Cherry by J.C. Morris. One Yellow Eye by Lee Radford. A Short Strange Trip by John O'Connor. And then 3 horror anthologies: Fast Ships, Black Sails, Dominion, and Howls from the Dark Ages. And on top of all of that, we also went to Powell's, the massive bookstore here, and we saw Marcus Cleaver talking to Caitlin Starling. It was my first time ever at an author talk, like a book talk at a bookstore. So I got The Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver, and we got to hear him talk about his new book. We got to hear him explain how to actually pronounce his last name. Oops. We got our books signed. Isn't that neat?
Of course.
Weird horror that doesn't explain everything, this is the book for you. And if you like horror that frustrates you, this is the book for you.
And yeah, that's everything I got from the book crawl, where I was limiting myself to 5 books. And then the second thing that I want to do is open a package with you. I got an email from my friend Chanel at Chanel Chapters, and she said, hey, just so you know, there's something in the mail coming for you, and it's a birthday present. And I was like, oh shit. So it got here, but I wanted to open it on camera because I'm very excited and there's stickers all over the place, and also she put Nicolas Cage's face on the bottom of it. So let's open my birthday present from Chanel together. Chanel, by the way, you're fucking insane. You didn't have to do this. This is absolutely insane of you to do. Also, I can only find kid scissors in here. I don't have a child, but apparently there's only kid scissors in my office right now. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, there's so much in here. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, hold on. First, I got Australian wellness tea for sleep. Baby, thank you. Everyone knows that I don't know how to sleep. I've never done it before in my life, so maybe this will help me sleep for the first time ever. Oh my god, and it smells incredible. I feel like a kid at Christmas right now. Is this Australian chocolate bars? One called Cherry Ripe and one called Turkish Delight, so I can feel like Edmund Pevensey with the White Queen in Narnia. Oh. That's my man. You made me a David Attenborough birthday card? You are simply extraordinary. Happy birthday. I'm gonna block out the words here, put another Nick Cage on the inside. Oh. Okay. Well, I don't think I could have read that out loud even if I tried. Chanel, what a fucking joy you are. My god. I got stickers, I got pins. Oh my god, this is like a real care package. I feel like I'm at summer camp. Oh wait, are these little tarot cards? Chanel, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but are you aware that the lion is my favorite animal on the face of the planet? Like, are you aware that as a oh my god, am I influencering right? Do you know that as a child I was convinced I was gonna grow up and be a lion veterinarian living in Africa? Because if not, that's a crazy fucking coincidence. Well, this box is from Folio Society, so like my heart rate just increased. Wow, whatever is gonna be in here, Chanel, I don't deserve it and I don't deserve you. This is absolutely fucking insane. Someone else has to look at it before I do. I'm freaking out too much. There's so many layers of wrapping. In case anyone doesn't know what the Folio Society is, it's these beautiful versions of books. Like the kinds of things that you frame and display proudly above your mantle. It's kept so safe. Can you see what it is yet? Oh, no. No, you can't. Is this the front? Does it open like a book? What's happening? Oh. I've like been silent for 6 whole minutes. I just cut out like a huge swath of footage because I'm like in shock. If you don't know already, my favorite book of all time is Pure Nessie by Susanna Clarke. It is one of the only books that I have multiple copies of because I'm so obsessed with it that I bought like the hardcover version that has pretty stuff on it. I don't buy special copies of books unless it's something that means a lot to me. Chanel has purchased for me the Folio, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. The Folio Society version of Pure Nessie by Susanna Clarke. I'm gonna have a heart attack. I feel like I shouldn't be touching this. I feel like I don't deserve, oh my god, there's illustrations. I don't deserve to own this. I don't deserve to be touching this. I don't deserve a friend like Chanel. What in the actual f is this? Look at the cover. Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna have an asthma attack or a heart attack or a panic attack or like all three. Chanel, thank you so much for this. This is one of the more meaningful gifts anyone has ever given to me. This is beyond anything you should have done and anything that I deserve. I love you and I cannot wait to figure out where the f to put this to display it in my house. I really need to stop filming now so I can just stare at it and also like cry a little bit off camera because I've cried enough on camera. I want to take a second to talk about all of you. I guess the fact that we are 2 years into this channel and the fact that I have made friends not only with Chanel and everyone that I've met that's a YouTube creator, but also every single person that is here, that is watching, every single person who's ever watched anything on my channel, anyone who's ever left a nice comment, anyone who's ever not left any comments, even if you're a silent watcher and you just watch from the eaves. I love you and I'm so fucking appreciative that you exist and that you're existing with me. It feels really crazy that people want to exist with me in any capacity. I am really proud of the community that we have created here. And I'm really proud to have all of you here in the community with me, or to have me be in the community with you. There's no community without you guys. I'm just like an observer. Well, no, I guess you're the whatever, you know what I mean. You are the community and I am lucky enough to be here within it. And I feel really grateful, and I'm grateful to every last one of you. And I am so fucking grateful to Chanel for my new prized possession. I would kiss it if I didn't think that that would ruin it in some way. I will kiss you anytime you decide to come to the States or the next time I go to Australia. That's not a threat. I need to go contain myself. I need to go contain myself a little bit. I just wanted to have one little cheesy moment. This is just the coolest place. I love YouTube. I love being on YouTube. And I love specifically the space that we have created on YouTube. So I guess I'll see ya when I've read part of The Caretaker. Hopefully it's before I leave for LA, but knowing me and how slow I am, it'll probably be when I'm in LA. Okay, what was I supposed to say? Wish me luck. Bye. So I, in fact, got only a few pages read of The Caretaker while my sister was staying with me. It wasn't enough to be worth talking about to you, but now I have completed both half of The Caretaker and the 18-hour drive to LA, so it's time to talk about it. So the basis of this story is that this young woman, Macy Mullins, is down on her luck. Her father passed away a few years ago, and she has been left alone to take care of her little sister. They live in this one-room situation and they sleep on furniture that they found thrown out on the street, so our girls are in like a pretty dire situation. So Macy responds to this ad that she sees on Craigslist for a 3-day gig to take care of someone's elderly husband. She goes to this interview and some sketchy information is given to her, but it winds up being a $9,000 offer for only a few days, so she feels like she has to accept it, and like I would too. And then obviously shit starts to go sideways, as we've seen tend to do in a Marcus Cleaver book. And it still feels weird pronouncing his name as Cleaver, knowing that I've been mispronouncing it for like a year and a half. So my apologies to you, Mr. Cleaver. It has been really fun putting myself back into the up Easter egg mindset for the book, and knowing I'm now 50% closer to spending 45 hours on the Cleaververse subreddit, just like I did after we used to live here. Part of the fun of his books is knowing that every book will eventually be connected to every other book. So we're reading some things that won't make sense until like 2040 when he's published his 10th book. There are so many references going on so far. Oh, I'm on page 163. There are so many references going on so far. Real life references, like he mentions a book in Salem, Oregon that I've been to called The Book Bin. Media references that I'm sure are real and intentional, like nods to the famous Reddit story called The Backrooms, the one that's getting the movie adaptation this month. And there are media references that I'm sure aren't even real and I'm just making them up in my head. Because I see allusions to Lost, but I see allusions to Lost everywhere, and 99% of the time that there aren't actually allusions to Lost in the things I'm reading. So The Caretaker so far, it took a lot longer to get into the spooky shit than We Used to Live Here did. I made it to page 263 and things are just now starting to get like horrifying, horror-ish, horror-esque. We're just now starting to get to the weird shit, like the really weird shit, and I'm more than halfway through the book. It's slow going, but that's helped to set up something else that I want to talk about, which is OCD representation. When I went to see Marcus Cleaver speak, he said something about someone reading an early version of this book and then asking him if he had OCD, and he apparently didn't realize that he had it, and then he went to get tested and he found out, oh yeah, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. But as a person with OCD, it was clear from like page 2. Part of Macy's job for these 3 days is that she has to follow the rites, which involves things like flipping light switches on and off multiple times, and other things that I won't mention, but the particulars here don't really matter. What matters is the constant repetition. Is there an owl in my fireplace? I hope the camera picked that up. A dove. There's a dove that must be sitting right at the top of my fireplace. That was so creepy. Okay, well, I'm gonna talk over the dove now, I guess. Anyway, the constant repetition. Macy has to do these rituals over and over and over again, or else something bad will happen. And that's often such a huge part of how OCD manifests. You have your obsessions, which are these persistent, often circular, illogical thoughts, followed by compulsions, which are actions taken to soothe those thoughts. So if you have OCD, your brain might tell you that you need to flip the light switch on and off 3 times every time you use it, or else something bad will happen to you or your family. Or it could make you need to turn around in your car on your way to work to make sure that you didn't leave the oven on or your hair straightener on, otherwise you might burn down your house. OCD is often, not always, but often, a maladaptive way to give your brain a false sense of control, and it's often very illogical, which doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that your OCD thoughts don't make sense. They feel very real to your brain. You can tell me up and down that having my car radio volume set to an even number won't bring bad luck to me and everyone I love. It doesn't matter. My car radio will always be at an odd number. So Macy's tasks being a series of rituals she has to fulfill to keep people safe was never not going to be a parallel to OCD. And that's kind of all I can comfortably say here. The synopsis online gives you so little information that I don't want to say anything that could risk spoiling anything at all. So I will see you, I guess, when I'm done with the book. By the way, I'm having a good time with the book so far. I don't know if I already said that. I'm not having as good of a time as I did with We Used to Live Here, but hopefully that will change now that we're actually ramping up and getting into the weird shit. Because the weird shit, that's what I want. Okay. Okay, me and my fireplace dove, we will see you when we finish the book. Right, there is so little... Hold on. What do I do? Can you balance there? I'm in my car. I'm coming home from dinner. I thought that my tripod was in the car. It's not, so I have to hold you and balance you here. I'm so sorry for this. Also, I thought my microphone is in the car. It's not, so I hope the sound is fine. There's so little I can say about the second half of The Caretaker, obviously. Spoilers. Except for the fact that Marcus Cleaver books are just so much fucking fun. I promise I'm gonna make this clip really fast. I know that this is probably an annoying way to watch a video. I flew through this book because I was just having such a good ass time, like a genuinely fun time existing in this world. And his books are just so readable, and I mean that in the best possible way. His books are so readable, so fun. This was 300 and something pages, or like 291 maybe. But if I had really put my mind to it, I could have gotten this through in a day. And I'm a slow fucking reader. Also, so far, I am never worried that I'm going to run into the same old tired tropes and ideas with Marcus Cleaver. If there's one thing I know, it's that he is going to give me original ideas. We Used to Live Here played off the haunted house theme, but it was such an original, well, I think it was an original version of the haunted house book, but also I'm pretty sure I've never actually read another haunted house book, so technically I don't know if I'm right on that one. What I do know is that the entire world, the universe that Marcus Cleaver's books live within, they're all interconnected in some way, quote unquote, or like they will be. That's original. That's original as fuck, and creepy and messed up, and it fucks with your head, and it makes you actually have to think to connect all these dots, and you have to put your fucking back into it. Your back being your brain. So The Caretaker, at the base of it, is just what if all of your OCD thoughts were real and true, which is a horror story in itself. The ending hits you with, sorry, I have one hand holding the camera, so I'm trying to do this part one-handed. The ending hits you with like 5 different plot twists at once, which is great because I thought I knew where we were going and I was just simply fucking wrong. I could definitely see people not liking The Caretaker or We Used to Live Here, both for the same reason, because you don't get all of your questions answered. Actually, by the end of the book, you probably have more questions than you started out with, but that's part of the fun of it. I love ambiguity and I love being confused, and so once again, I loved a Marcus Cleaver book. However, I didn't love it quite so much as We Used to Live Here. That was a flat 5 stars, and this one was definitely a little more slower going in the beginning than I would have preferred it before we got into the real horrifying aspects of it, so I'm giving it a 4.5. But I'm not mad about a solid 4.5. That's amazing. And now we get to start the everlasting... I definitely thought that I had the book here in the car with me. Apparently I don't. So when I get back to my house, I get to start The Everlasting. And I am so violently stoked for it. I've heard from very solid, reliable people whose recommendations I trust that The Everlasting is a 5-star, out-of-this-world book. And I've heard that it's deeply romantic, but in a fantasy sense, which is the way that I like. Obviously, we know I don't read romance books, but genre fiction, speculative fiction with a subplot of romance, absolutely. I think I already mentioned this, but I gave Starling House by Alex E. Harrow 3 stars, but The 10,000 Doors of January I gave 5 stars, and The Everlasting feels like it's gonna be more 10,000 Doors of January than Starling House. So I'm staying hopeful From what I've heard, the book has portal fantasy and time f***ery and lovers who meet in every lifetime, all the shit I am crazy about in books. So I'll see you either when I'm halfway through with that one, or when I have something really important to tell you, or wherever natural ending point seems, whatever. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye. Hi, it's me, your friend, McKenna. I am in my car. Obviously. I need to talk to you about the first part of The Everlasting, but I'm coming home from an appointment and there's something happening at my house when I get home, so I have to do this in the car. So I apologize. Oh, there are people that keep walking past, but my windows are a little bit tinted. Don't tell the cops. But I put my reflector up on the windshield in front, so hopefully no one can see me from that way. But I am in my car, and my car is on, so I apologize if the sounds of the cars driving past is bad. I apologize if the air conditioning sound is bad, but it has to be on because it's so fucking hot out right now. Whatever it is, this is the best that we have right now, and we're making good with what it is that we have. So the first part of The Everlasting. I don't know where to start, actually. No, maybe I'll start where Harrow started, which is with an excerpt from a Rilke? I am so sorry, I don't actually know how to pronounce your last name, I've only seen it written. A Rilke poem. And that should have indicated to me how I was going to feel about the rest of this book. Rilke is one of my favorite poets, and this is shaping up to maybe be one of my new favorite books. But maybe I should start where the book actually starts. On the first page of the book where it says, "They say time runs strangely beneath the yew." In that line, when I was already made aware that there would be some time f***ery inside this beautiful little book. If you're somehow not already aware of this, I love anything that has to do with time f***ery in a book. It's my favorite thing that could possibly exist in a book. And to me, time f***ery includes anything like time travel, portals, time loops, reincarnation, basically anything that could fall under the umbrella of time being f***ed with. Not just time f***ery, but that line, "They say time runs strangely beneath the yew," that tells me that this book is going to be told to us like a story, a fairy tale, some kind of a legend. Using the phrase "they say" conjures an image of stories passed down and oral traditions, and it kind of just negates the need for you to say "once upon a time." It indicates that we're stepping into some kind of a fairy tale. So actually, I should probably start with a quick synopsis. The Everlasting is about Una Everlasting, Dominion's greatest hero, and Dominion is the fictional, vaguely Anglo-European country that the book takes place in, and the story follows Una and Owen, who I'll get to in just one second. Una Everlasting is the lady knight that every child in Dominion grew up hearing bedtime stories about. Should I raise you up higher? So Una Everlasting is every child in Dominion's bedtime story. She was supposedly this impenetrable force of a warrior. She protected the country, she brought glory to its queen, and then she died in service to that country and that queen. But that's all history. The story starts in present day with Owen Mallory, who was a soldier and is now a scholar, and he's dedicated his entire life to the study of Una Everlasting after he became enamored with her as a child. I think after he saw a poster on the wall. And Owen winds up being tasked through the use of time f***ery to ensure that Una stays on her course. He's also tasked to write notes about her quests. Is the camera shaking every time a car drives by? That could be problematic, but that's a problem for editing, McKenna, I guess. The synopsis on Goodreads says they are bound to retell the same story over and over again no matter what it costs. But I haven't gotten to that part yet. So the main thing that I want to talk about in this first third is politics, because this book is so much more political than I thought it was gonna get. Owen is a politically propagandized little zombie for the first few chapters. He's romanticizing war in the very first chapter. He has this little public transportation daydream about whether his book about Una Everlasting will be the catalyst to send this little boy that he meets on the train to the front lines of war, to push this little kid to fight for crown and country. Owen, in the first few chapters at least, he is deeply, deeply caught up in all the nationalism that's going on. Except we get this added layer that he's not just this like raving nationalist figure. He just, according to his own words, has been going along with it. He's not staying politically informed. He's not voting in elections. He's ignorant and apolitical in this deeply politically fraught landscape. And then we get an extra added layer. Owen has the wrong coloring. He is a born and bred citizen of Dominion, but he has the brown hair and eyes of a hinterlander, the enemy. And hinterlanders, for the most part, have darker features. Dark hair, dark eyes, darker skin, as opposed to Dominion citizens who seem to all have light skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. Stop me if this sounds familiar. And so Owen has been othered his whole life, bullied and excluded, and looked at with suspicion by certain people just for the crime of being born a little bit darker than the people around him. And he's spoken multiple times in this first section about how because of that, he feels this great need to conform, to fit in so he'll be accepted by these Dominion people. And that's a very real thing that happens in our... What happened? Why did it get so dark in here? That's a very real thing that happens in our world. When people are othered, a lot of times they try to find this false sense of security and safety by trying to conform to the people who are othering them. It reminded me of in The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, the fact that there were black adults working at this school where there is regular torture and murder of black kids, and not just the employees. The main character in that book was also bullied by other black kids who were being held at that school, the school. It also reminded me, perhaps, of recent times, perhaps when you find out after an election that certain minority groups, women, people of color, gay people, sometimes they vote for a candidate who is openly hateful of those minority groups, or at the very least absolutely does not give a shit about those minority groups. If you join the bully, you think that he won't come after you, even though he's coming after absolutely everyone who looks like you. There are people walking by and no one has been able to see me through the windows. So that is awesome. Owen's father is part of this Hold on, my dad's calling. Speaking of fathers. Okay, love you, bye. So Owen's father is part of a low-key resistance group in Dominion. And at one point, Owen says of his father, "I looked at him with his pinkish white complexion and his hair the color of underbaked bread and marveled that he had never truly noticed the difference between us. He didn't seem to understand that a man like me would never be wholly beyond suspicion, no matter how ardently loyal, while a man like him would never be wholly condemned, no matter how faithless. That I had always hated him, just a little, for the privilege of his deviance." And obviously he's talking about his father, who looks more like a true Dominion citizen than Owen does. And speaking of Dominion, it is super clear to us from the very beginning that Dominion is not a good place. They're not the good guys. And that's not a spoiler, it's what's laid out in front of us in even just the first few pages. Any country that claims to be fighting for one crown, one god, and one nation, that's not going to be a good place. You're not going to wind up being the good guy. There are lots of hints thrown into the text to let us know what's up from the beginning. Like when he and his fellow soldiers were in Hinterlander territory and they crossed rivers whose names we changed to make them easier to pronounce. So they basically went around whitewashing this other country's culture and names, trying to take not only their land from them, but also their language. Other tribes of people are called savages. Their places of worship are called heathen temples. Owen and his fellow soldiers claimed that they were liberating the towns that they were taking over. They're colonizers. So I can only imagine that the book is going to take us on this journey of Owen unlearning all this bad information that's been shoved into his head. I love a flawed character, and I love a journey where someone has to unlearn that bad information. Whatever cult you come from, whether it's nationalism, xenophobia, racism, homophobia, whatever cult you come from, way of thinking cult, real life, whatever it is, there is a way out, and you can find your way to a better path. And I can already see the building blocks falling into place for Owen's journey down that path. So the other thing I want to talk about is gender subversion. First of all, Owen doesn't yearn for Una. He pines. That boy is down horrendous. He is in love with her before he even meets her. We're told in a few different ways that Owen and Una are both not what they're supposed to be. Owen has always been this soft, skinny, more feminine guy, and Una is this tall, huge statue of a woman, and she turns away from most of the traditional concepts of femininity, and Owen loves that. He loves that she's big and strong and powerful. He thinks that she's hottest when she's bloodied and bruised after a battle. He is very happy to watch her be the powerhouse that she is. There's even a scene where she pulls him onto her horse in front of her, and he sits in front of her and he's like, "Oh, I'm so happy and warm, and I feel so safe and secure in her big strong arms, and I feel her big muscular thighs behind me. She makes me feel so safe." And it's just so nice to read a dynamic that is so opposite of what we usually get in fantasy books, because usually what we get is big strong boy knight and small dainty teeny tiny lady. And I just love that we see those roles reversed and that each of them loves that in the other. Owen never expresses that he wants her to be a teeny tiny slip of a thing, and Una never says, "I wish Owen was this big, strong, huge guy. I wish he was more manly. I wish he had more muscles." There's never any of that. They love each other for who they are. They think the other is super hot exactly as they are, as it should be. So I left off. It says this. And I left off with a reveal that I didn't see coming, and I am so very ready to get back to the book, and I am eagerly awaiting Owen's Dominion deconstruction journey and more of my big strong lady night. The writing is also really beautiful. Have I mentioned that yet? Alex Ihara is a great writer, and the way that Owen talks about Una is deeply romantic. Romantic as hell. And I think that's all that I wanted to talk about. Politics, gender subversion, beautiful writing. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm gonna drive home now and I'm gonna read another chunk of this book. Okay, see ya. See you later. Goodbye. I have now finished the middle third of the book and I'm deeply in love and I do not want this book to end in 100 pages. Why is this book only 300 pages? Why is this so small? We wound up getting some chapters from Una's point of view, which is so good. I love being in that woman's head, and also it adds to like the deeply romantic feel of the book. Being able to see her perspective on everything just confirms everything that I was already feeling about the way that we're going, the direction we're taking this in. Also, I cannot picture anyone in my head when I think of Una Everlasting except for Brienne of Tarth. This is Una Everlasting to me. I really want to tell you something that I don't think is a spoiler, but I think that other people might think it's a spoiler. So just know that, oh, this is gonna be annoying. Things are happening, the book is shifting, and Owen and Una make a really solid team. And Owen is in fact progressing just like I thought he would. The propaganda is unraveling before our eyes. So if there was any worry there about whether he would progress or if he would continue to be part of this propaganda bullshit, don't worry. Things are moving along like I assumed they would. That's also not a spoiler. I don't think that having one of your main characters be like a propaganda spewing person, I don't think that that would make sense in any iteration of a book. But I should mention, I don't think I brought it up before, but it feels important. Owen continuously refers to himself through the book as a coward for a few different reasons. And Una continues to refer to herself as some kind of a monster. Not an actual monster, just like a bad person. So part of their growth is undoing those belief systems in themselves, which I think is awesome. If I had to sum up the book so far into little themes, I would say if you don't pay attention to history, history repeats itself. The patriarchy benefits no one but the patriarchs, and it's the little moments that constitute a life. Not the big things, not your public legacy. The little moments are what matter. And if you want to know what the I mean by any of that, because I know I'm being so vague, you're gonna have to read the book. There were a few quotes in here that I wanted to tell you. One of them I absolutely can't, but I'm gonna give you two quotes out of context, so maybe they won't hit the same for you as they hit for me. But trust me, they will if you wind up reading the book. I wanted to be what you wanted. Was that not how you loved someone? By hammering your body into whatever shape they liked best and handing yourself to them like a hilt? Like a hilt. Like a sword. Like an object. Handing yourself to them like an object to do whatever they want with you as they please. However I can be useful to you, that's what I will turn myself into. I will bend and twist and discard whatever pieces of me you don't want. That line hurt me. That hurt me. And then Owen is talking about the legacy of Dominion, and he says that's not history, that's a story, designed to teach us who to hate and who to obey, what god to worship and what flag to fight for, and what color eyes are the most beautiful. And he's talking about propaganda and the way that it can shape countries, and the way that leaders can use propaganda in order to make things exactly as they want and what's good for them. Because nothing brings together a people like being told to hate another people. Bars. That's all that I have for you for now. I kind of wish I had made this a full spoiler video because I want to talk about it so badly, but I can't. All I can do is go into the last third of the book. I really wish it wasn't the last third of the book, but I will see you when I'm done with this beautiful piece of literature. Thank you, goodbye. I am in shambles, and the shitty part is that I can't tell you anything about it. That was so beautiful and painful and perfect, and I want to read it again. I never reread books. Never. The only book I ever reread is The Giver, because it's my favorite childhood book and I reread it like once every 2 years. I never reread any other books, and I almost immediately want to pick this up and reread it all over again. Isn't that funny? Since I can't tell you anything at all, I'm gonna give you vague one-liners about the things that I want to talk to you about but can't. This might be annoying to you, so strap in. First of all, hot. Unexpectedly hot. They have sex. It is hot. That's all. That I can tell you. I'm down. I'm in. Next, Una is a badass in so many different ways. And seeing her through Owen's eyes, Owen who loves her so much, it helps us appreciate how much of a badass she is that much more. Next, I cried. I wish I could tell you when and why, but I cried. If you've read the book, it was on page 238, just from one single line. And it's the line that comes after not a creak or a rustle or a drawn breath. The very next line, I can't even look at it without wanting to start crying again. What else? Oh, I can tell you that Una has a horse, and I love him. His name is Hen. He's basically the devil, and all he wants to do is kill people. Next vague reference, the whole last like 10 pages of the book are a Hosier song. All of this, I'm pretty sure Hosier wrote it. There are 3 lines I'm looking at right now that are basically pulled straight from In a Week. The book ended with the understanding that you can't beat certain things out of people. Some people are meant to fulfill certain roles. You might call it fate. Una can never be anything other than herself, and Owen can never be anything other than himself, and whatever you bring to the table is wonderful and good. There's also a lot of meditation on the vast quantities of things that people will do for the ones that they love. Big things, small things, and also how that love can come in so many forms. I really don't understand why this had to be only 300 pages. Why couldn't this be the 600-page brick that so many other books are? I wanted 3 times as many pages. I would read a 1,000-page book if it was all about them. Obviously, this is 5 stars, and I would be really shocked if this didn't wind up in my top 10 of the year. And now is when I have to tell you that this is where this video ends. I was supposed to read a 3rd book, if you'll remember, The River Has Roots by Amala Motar, but apparently I left it on my desk when I was packing in Oregon. So that book is currently about 1,000 miles away from me. So hopefully a 2-book video hits just as hard as a 3-book video might have. My bad. This video hit hard for me, let me tell you. I did not get all 5 stars like I had hoped, but I did have 1 5 and 1 4.5. And that's basically the same thing to me. Thank you so much for being here with me. That's gonna be all for today, folks. If you can hear me, if you can read the subtitles, I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're all here together. I hope you have a great rest of May. I hope we're all looking forward to summer. I love you. Bye. As many great possible... What? As many great possible books... What? As many great books at... What? Whoa. As many great... I'm going to be reading The Caretaker by Marcus... Caretaker? It's been a long day. And that's kind of all I can comfortably say. So they basically went around. We're told in a few different ways that Ewan, and then Ewan is... Ewan, why do I keep saying this?